The mobile phone. Most of us are now spending a huge chunk of our living experience on this thing, when I would guess most people don't want to be. On one hand, it's useful and entertaining. On the other though, it's distracting and time consuming. Apparently we need one, but often I don't even feel like I want one. It effectively stays within arm's reach of us 24 hours a day, and we use it in bed, on the toilet, essentially everywhere. So is it an essential part of modern life, or have we perhaps been tricked? I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and it made me ask the question, when was the last time that I actually had 24 hours or more away from my phone? And I was pretty shocked when I came to the conclusion that I was most likely about 12 years old, which then got me thinking, what would it be like to almost go back in time again and live without a mobile phone? Not even like an old Nokia or anything like that, quite simply nothing. So I'm gonna go 7 days without a phone. And you might be thinking, what exactly is the point in doing this? Is it even the phone that's the problem, or is it just the apps and social media? Perhaps after years of a constant dopamine onslaught, I'll actually be able to fix my brain. Or will I just become isolated, lonely, and quite bored? I'm sure I'm not the only one to wonder what this would feel like, so in this experiment, I'm going to find out the answers and report them back to you. Maybe there's a chance that I'll become really focused on my work, no longer have any distractions, and maybe I'll even get rid of that thing where your hand just kind of reaches for your phone and then unlocks it without you even realizing. Either way, I'm excited to find out. So what are the rules in this experiment? Basically, it's as simple as no mobile phone allowed. That's it. I do still have some work to do, so I will be using my laptop. However, I won't be downloading WhatsApp, which is the thing that I primarily speak to people on. I'm also going to take note of the phone numbers of the most important people to me, so if anything did happen, I could always use the landline phone. And I've also put my old phone with £5 worth of credit in my car, just in case there's an emergency when I'm out. This is just more of a safety thing, don't worry, I'm not trying to get around the challenge. Okay, so the phone is now turned off. Feels quite weird already, I have to admit, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so immediately on the first day, I had the thought that maybe this experiment might not quite be as painful as I first thought. Because I'm not exactly living without technology. In fact, I'll be spending a lot of my day next to a screen, but at least I know with this screen, I will be doing work and not purely procrastinating like I often do with my phone. However, it wasn't long before I had to leave the house for the first time and deal with the first hurdle. And that is the fact that there's no Spotify. So I've never been a big fan of the radio when I'm driving, so usually I just use my phone to pick a playlist or a podcast, but obviously I can't do that now, so for once in a long time, some old CDs are going to finally get some use. And to be honest, it's quite cool to revisit some old albums that I really used to love, so yeah, it's not all bad. And of course that also means that in the gym, I'm not going to be able to listen to my music, so fingers crossed whatever they play isn't too bad. So funnily enough, one thing that I did fail to remember is that to get into my gym, I always show a QR code on my phone, but thankfully I've managed to print it off and it does still work. So when it comes to taking a walk or going for a run, maybe it is actually better not to always rely on a podcast or music and instead just listen to the birds. I know I'm definitely guilty for always trying to fill in empty moments with a podcast or a YouTube video, so yeah, maybe this is quite good for me. So it's now day 3 of not having a mobile phone, and I'm feeling pretty good. Time starts to feel a little slower, there's more hours in the day. I feel like I've got more time to do things. I'm being more productive, yet at the same time it feels more chilled and more laid back. That gravity that's kind of like always pulling me towards a phone is starting to disappear. It's still there to some degree, but it's definitely going, and yeah, spending more time outside, feeling good. So yeah, long may that continue. So the second half of the week carried on in a pretty similar fashion. Generally, I went through my days with less distraction, but I did still miss things like Spotify and Google Maps. And as much as I don't like to feel reliant on certain apps, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to go somewhere without getting lost, or potentially just listening to your favourite band or a podcast. One thing that's come to mind is that although this has been quite challenging at times, I do think it is a bit more doable than I first originally thought. At the start, just turning off my phone for a few hours felt really uncomfortable, but As the week progressed, it definitely did get a lot easier. So I think that's quite a good lesson that I've already picked up, is that things will just be fine even if I choose to put my phone in a drawer somewhere or turn it off for a day. So as the experiment comes to a close, I've definitely learned a lot about myself and the relationship which I have with my phone. Essentially, it's helped me to work out things that I actually do value and what really is not needed. It's a weird feeling because I don't particularly feel like I need my phone back, but at the same time, I have a bit more confidence that I'll be able to use it with a bit more intentionality. I will admit though, I have missed things like Google Maps, Spotify, my banking app, even notes apps where I like to put ideas down for videos like this. I have missed those, and I'm definitely looking forward to using them again. The thing about all those apps that I just mentioned though, they are not the problem. We don't just sit there and have this craving to open up Google Maps and to scroll through all these different locations. That's not the case. But instead, apps like Instagram, YouTube, any messaging apps and things like that, they're the ones that really pull you in and take away your time. So I think my initial hunch was correct. I don't actually think it's the phone that is the problem. I think it's what's on it and your relationship with those things. I think that coming to the realization that you don't always need to be contactable and some things actually can wait can really help to allow you to go about your day. I've been reading the book 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, and there's a chapter all about avoiding hard situations in our lives and how our phones and social media actually offer us an escape to not deal with things and instead let us sit in a state of digital limbo. And I think that's definitely the case. Our phone always gives us a way out from getting on with what we actually need to do. For me personally, the thing that bugs me the most about my phone is just the ability it has to drag me away from everyday life and to spend these little 10 to 20 minute chunks on things that really aren't urgent. It's just really weird to think there was only 15 to 20 years ago that people didn't just walk around all day with their phone on them, and if they did, it was a really basic one that couldn't go on the internet or anything, and people were fine and the world was okay. And it just makes you realize how much things have changed in such a short amount of time and how much we've changed. So that's the lessons that I've learned over the last week or so. Will I go back to using my phone? Yes, I will do, but hopefully armed with the new knowledge and experience that I've got in the last week, I will be able to use my phone in a better way. But also just to realize that you can just turn it off every now and then, put it in a drawer for a day or so, and things will be absolutely fine. Let me know below if you've got any tips on how to manage your phone use. What's your experience with it? Is it something that you struggle with as well? Let me know if you think it maybe could be possible to not have a phone in the modern world. I'd be really interested to see what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.